of Tron Bonne!
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. As most of you know, I'm a huge fan of the Mega Man Legends series. Check out my first video, by the way. As I said in the past, I played the original game over and over growing up, and it wasn't until the PS2 release that I got my hands on the sequel. But something I didn't know back then was that there was a third game, a prequel set before the first game. Today, for the first time, I'll be looking at the spin-off game featuring everyone's favorite sky pirate, the Misadventures of Tron Bonne. The game stars my favorite tsundere from the first game, Tron Bonne, in an action-adventure game similar to the main Legends series. The premise of the game is that Teasel and Bonne, Tron's older and younger brother respectively, have been taken hostage by Lex Loathe and his henchman Glide. As it turns out, Teasel had borrowed 1 million Zenny from Lex in order to build the Bonne flagship, the Gazelle Shaft. Unfortunately, Teasel is late on his payments to Lex, so Glide fights him and captures him. Now it's up to Tron to pay off the debt and save her brothers with the help of her Servbots. It's pretty straightforward and, unlike Legends, is very light on the story. You'll use the Gazelle Shaft as a hub area where you can move between different rooms on the ship and interact with the 40 different Servbots that Tron has built. Each one has their own unique personality and serve different functions on the ship. Some piloting it, some cooking, cleaning, etc. Unlike the Flutter, which was a 3D, albeit small area you could explore, Tron's home base is just a static 2D pre-rendered background with only the Servbots moving around it. Tron herself doesn't have a model in this game and only shows up as a 2D art portrait, with different expressions and poses depending on the situation or who she's talking to. The different rooms on the ship serve different functions. The HQ is where you can start a mission, send Servbots out to scout and search for different items, or just save your game. In the lab, you can develop weapons and upgrades for Tron's main robot in this game, the Gustav. Next is storage, where you can appraise the various items to see what they're for, and to sell them off. The last two rooms of any note are the meeting room, where Tron will coordinate missions with her Servbots, and the gym, where you can train up the Servbots to raise their stats. The rest of the rooms don't serve a real function outside of housing more Servbots. Speaking of the Servbots, these cute little guys serve a huge part in assisting Tron in her quest to save her brothers. Depending on the mission type, the Servbots will help you search for Zenny, interact with objects and NPCs, and fight enemy Reaverbots. Each of the Servbots have stats in Attack, Brain, and Sloth, along with a special ability. When piloting the Gustav, the attack stat of the Servbot who serves as the sniper will determine the strength of the machine's cannon shots. The Brain stat determines whether they pick up refractors on their own during missions, the type of hints they give in certain missions, and maxing out the Brain stat will unlock the special ability for some Servbots. Finally is Sloth, which can be a bit confusing to understand at first. Essentially, it's how lazy a Servbot is. If their Sloth is maxed out, they'll goof off and be unavailable for missions, needing Tron to discipline them before they are usable again. Sloth tends to rise if a Servbot isn't taken out on missions or given scouting duties. So the game encourages you to switch up your team instead of sticking to the same ones over and over again. The abilities the Servbots have vary in terms of usefulness. Some, like the Sniper for example, are essential in using the Gustav for firing its buster. Others, like Armor, Tank, and Bazooka, unlock upgrades to the Gustav's defenses, health, and more weapons. And finally, others like Music or Paint change things like the background music in the HQ, or the color of the Gustav itself. Unlocking the ability for Servbots becomes essential in surviving certain missions and collecting Zenny. Now we move on to the missions and the main way you'll be generating money. You'll have your choice of 4, and later 6, different mission types in order to gain Zenny. The missions themselves go through different stages as you complete them. Once you've chosen a mission, you'll go into a debriefing, going over the objective of the mission, the robot you'll be using, and which Servbots to bring with you. The first mission has you trying to rob a bank from a nearby town using the Gustav and 6 Servbots. You'll control the Gustav similar to how you control Mega Man in the regular Legends game, running around, shooting, and collecting things. The main objective is to fire what's called a beacon bomb from the Gustav at buildings, commanding the Servbots to run in and loot the place. While running around, you'll eventually draw the attention of the local police, who will try and attack the Gustav. They're pretty ineffective and can be taken out in a few shots, but get more difficult in later levels when more swarm you or they start spawning infinitely.
trouble getting up this morning, did we? Did your mommy have to wake you up?
During Mission 1, you'll be introduced to a rookie police officer named Denise, who Tron can't help but bully throughout most of their encounters. But she slowly grows to feel bad for her as things go on, and as the poor rookie police officer keeps getting in trouble since she can't stop Tron. Denise serves as the boss for this area, at first fighting the Gustav ball on her own, amazingly being able to do a judo flip on the damn thing, and later fighting back in her own mech. Mission 2 is a puzzle mission, and has Tron visit a local harbor in order to steal containers to sell. Here, she'll use a variation of the Gustav that will grab containers and bring them back to their cargo ship. The catch is, the Gustav can only lift objects a certain amount of times, and once she's lifted a container, she only gets 10 steps to carry it back before the Gustav has to put it back down. So the main goal is planning out what to move, where to move it, and getting back to the boat in the shortest amount of steps. It's simple at first, but gets much harder as more boxes block the path, and needed containers end up farther away. To mitigate this, you can go back one move or restart the round whenever you want, and if you have a Servbot with a high enough brain stat, it will give you some decent hints on what to do. Mission 3 is referred to as an RPG mission, requiring Tron to pilot a tiny little floating mech called the Finkel, in order to search for the treasure known as the Aurora Stones. She'll be exploring a set of ruins supported by only 3 Servbots, and the camera shifts to first person. In this mission, the Servbots will need to interact with other diggers, disable traps, and unlock treasure chests and gates in order to proceed. After the first level of the mission, one of the Servbots will pilot a drill, letting them dig into new areas and fight against Reaverbots. At the end of each level, you'll have to fight a boss before being able to collect an Aurora Stone. These boss battles are very awkward, and work more as a puzzle than actual combat, either needing to use the environment in order to damage a Reaverbot, spotting and attacking the real Reaverbot boss and a group of others, or using a beacon bomb to send the Servbots inside the boss to damage it. This might be my least favorite of the missions, but I do like the various NPCs you'll meet here, even if their voice acting isn't really the best.
I was trapped. Oh, so we were able to help you get out! That's great! Thanks. Here, take this. It's a gate key.
Though you do get to meet Joseph Joestar.
Oh my god!
Mission 4 takes you to the Nakai Ruins, the place Teasel was going to before Glide captured him. Unlike the others, it's an open dungeon closer to the main games, instead of being separated by levels. You're back in the Gustav again for this one, searching holes and walls for Zenny, fighting Reaverbots, and finding parts and items. It can be tough if you haven't upgraded the Gustav or didn't choose the right Servbots to support you, and most of it is gated off until you unlock the Bonne Bazooka upgrade for the Gustav, which will let you smash down walls and go further inside. Making several trips in and out in order to find the right parts to upgrade the Gustav, you can eventually fight the boss Reaverbot at the end. I like this boss. Even though it's stationary, its attacks are designed to throw off or block the beacon bomb, so it'll take you a few tries to aim it at the boss itself, get 2 Servbots stuck in its nose, and cause it to cough and expose its weak point. Once it's beaten, you'll get the treasure Teasel was searching for, Diana's Tear, which you can sell for a ton of Zenny. If you do these missions enough times, or are frugal with spending Zenny on upgrades for the Servbots and the Gustav, Tron will eventually have the million needed to pay Lex Loathe. Of course, it's not that easy. Visiting him, the scumbag says it's actually not enough, as interest on the loan means Tron still needs another 2 million Zenny to pay back. After being kicked off his ship, Tron is pissed and determined to save her brothers once more. You'll now unlock missions 5 and 6. Mission 5 has Tron trying to steal livestock from a local farm while fighting off Lex's army of birdbots. You'll have to steal a certain amount of animals each level, with the option to loot the local houses. Mission 6 is the container puzzles again, but a bit different this time, as now you'll need to have a Servbot use a forklift in order to assist you. Unlike the last time, Tron herself won't be grabbing most of the containers. Instead, she'll need to use the Gustav to move containers out of the way, or form a path for the Servbot to get to them instead. There's also a 7th, somewhat secret mission that can be played in order to gain more money. In order to access it, you'll first have to unlock the red head parts, which Tron can then give to any of her Servbots in order to designate them as her favorite. If Tron returns to her room, she can now take a rest since she's able to leave someone in charge. Her favorite now has the option to visit the casino and play 2 minigames in order to rack up more cash. After all that is done and the 2 million are secured, Tron once again confronts Lex Loathe to pay him off and free her brothers. But, unsurprisingly, he still says she owes even more money because of the interest on the interest, and has her locked up with her brothers. However, not all is lost, as her favorite Servbot will rally the rest in order to infiltrate Lex's base and save his masters. This final mission has you piloting the Gustav again, fighting off birdbots and searching rooms to find the lost bonds. Once they're secured, Tron will take over piloting duties in order to fight Glide in a rematch from the game's opening boss battle.
Miss Tron, up there!
I don't know how you escaped, but here you are all together. One big happy family. Thinking about what to do with you was keeping me awake at night. Now that we've got the colossus, we don't really need you anymore, do we, darlings?
If you think we're going to go quietly without a fight, you'd better think again!
That's right! Now that Teasel's back, we don't have to play nice anymore! Understand?
Hey, Tron, you let me drive, right?
Sorry, big brother. Let me handle this. Let's go!
Hey, Tron!
After the fight, Lex Luthor reveals his master plan. He's been using Teasel and all the other people he's put in debt to dig up an ancient weapon known as the Colossus, a gigantic Reaverbot powerful enough to take over the world. Lex activates the Reaverbot just as Glide is defeated, engaging the Gazelle Shaft in battle. Unfortunately, you don't get to control the ship during the fight, as the Colossus quickly kicks the Bond's asses off-screen, knocking Teasel overboard and seriously injuring Tron. This actually caught me off guard, as while it's painted a different color, Tron is actually bleeding in this scene. A bit surprising for an E-rated game. Their masters out of commission, it's once again up to the Servbots to fight back and save the day.
Let's do it! Yes, sir!
This is a two-stage boss fight. The first part has the Servbots destroying the Colossus's power units while being attacked by an infinite swarm of Reaverbots. Its main body powered down, the head will detach and fight the Servbots by shooting lasers, trying to crash into them, and still spawning Reaverbots. Defeated, Lex Luthor and Glide fall into the sea as the Servbots steal the refractor they used to power the Colossus.
I'm sorry. Really, I am. Please forgive me. Please don't.
Nope!
Oh, please. Can't you forgive me? I know I treated you badly, but you can't leave us here.
I suppose you're right. All right, I'll help you.
You really mean it?
After all, I owe a friend a favor.
I don't know what that means, but I don't care. Just save me!
They beg for help, which Tron obliges, tying them up and dropping them off at the nearby police station, doing a solid for Denise by giving her the credit for their capture and saving her job. With Lex defeated, the Bonds have a party to celebrate, Tron congratulating and thanking her Reaverbots for a job well done. Well, until she finds out they threw out the refractor they stole from Lex. Oh, where will they go next in order to make their money back, I wonder? And that's the Misadventures of Tron Bonne. So what did I think? Well, it's certainly a game I think I would have enjoyed a lot if I played it when I was younger. The Bonds were my favorite part of the original game, so playing a spin-off game featuring them would be a no-brainer for younger me. And while I did enjoy playing it for the first time, I can't help but feel it's a bit of a watered-down version of Mega Man Legends. I think my first critique is the presentation. I'm not sure if it's because the game was rushed or had a smaller budget, but the game being primarily in 2D compared to the full 3D world of Legends was a little disappointing. Being able to wander and explore Cadillacs Island, the town, and its various areas was a huge appeal of the first game. Though I do love the character portraits, the various emotions they'll show, and how fast you can dive into a mission. And the 3D areas for the various missions do look as good as they did in Legends. Next is combat and the upgrades that can be done to the Gustav. While fighting Reaverbots is pretty much the same as it is in Legends, and aiming is much better thanks to having a visible lock-on now, it feels slower and stiff. Part of that I think has to do with the Gustav's size and inability to dash, so you're pretty much guaranteed to take some damage during fights since you can't move out of the way of attacks as fast. When it comes to upgrades to the Gustav, while armor and health are par for the course, The lack of weapon variety is really disappointing. Legends had dozens of weapons you could build and unlock, each one with different strengths and uses depending on the situation, so you were encouraged to try them out and see what they do as soon as you unlock them. Here, you really only have 3. The standard cannon, the bazooka, and the Gatling gun. And unlike Legends, and because you have infinite weapon energy, you can't upgrade the Gustav's weapon after unlocking them. Gripes aside, I do like the new things the game tries to do. The Servbots are a fun little bunch. Raising their stats is simple and straightforward enough where I'm not tearing my hair out trying to figure it out. I like their different special abilities, encouraging you to mix and match as you try them out on the field. Though I do wish many of them didn't overlap or had an extra effect if they shared the same ability. Also, I think sloths should have been swapped with a stat like fatigue, so if you use a Servbot too often, he'd get tired and need a break. I feel this would have gone further to push the player to use different Reaverbots regularly. As much as I miss exploring a whole 3D island, being able to just dive right into a mission is super convenient, speeding up the gameplay and getting you back into the action as soon as you're ready. And I do like the variety in the way you play each mission too, and how they change each time you progress through them, so they don't feel as stale as other mission-based games where you just do the same thing over and over again. Also, the various NPCs you encounter are pretty fun, and have some personality to them compared to the NPCs in the first game. Not that much, mind you, but it's something. The Misadventures of Tron Bonne is a fun, if simple spin-off featuring my favorite sky pirate tsundere. While I don't see myself playing it as often as I did the original game, I could definitely pick it up again one day. I absolutely recommend it to anyone who hasn't played it or loves the Legends series. Though, since the game runs pretty pricey nowadays, I'd say play it on PSN Network if you don't want to spend a fortune on it. And that's the video. Thanks for watching, guys. After 2 big games back to back, it was nice to just sit down and work on something a lot shorter, especially a game I've had on my bucket list for years. If I haven't started putting the videos up already, I've gotten back on my Platinum Nuzlocke, so give that a watch if you want to see what peak Pokemon incompetence looks like. I'm planning for another regular video this month and hope to get something done for the channel's 1-year anniversary next month. Again, thanks for watching. What'd you think of the video? Is Tron Bonne as good as the normal Legends games? As extremely unlikely as it is, would you like to see her get a sequel or a remake? Comment down below with what you thought, and if you enjoyed my video, give it a like. And if you're new to the channel, I'd appreciate it if you subscribed. I'm Fuzzy Slippers, and I'll see you later. Peace.